Welcome, Aries. Both the longtime warriors of this zodiac tribe and the freshly awakened ram souls just beginning to graze in the pastures of cosmic curiosity. You've landed at Zodiac Talks Tarot, a channel where ancient astrology meets grounded psychology, with a dash of Buddhist wisdom and a wink of humor. And this reading? Well, it's not for the faint of heart. June 2025 is arriving like a spiritual earthquake, no sugarcoating it. This isn't just a "what's your vibe this month" reading. This is your soul's cosmic intervention, your karmic audit, your universe-issued wake-up call. And Aries, if anyone's bold enough to face it head-on, it's you. Picture this, the cosmos rolling out a red carpet not for celebration, but for confrontation with yourself. Justice shows up holding her scales, and judgment is blowing the horn loud enough to rattle the foundations of whatever you've been tiptoeing around. Maybe it's that off-kilter relationship that looks okay on Instagram but feels like a slow leak to your spirit. Or that job that pays the bills but starves your fire. Whatever it is, the message is clear, the karmic balance sheet is due. And the universe? It's not accepting emotional ES anymore. The real kicker here is the Ten of Swords. Now, before you panic, yes, it looks dramatic. And it is. But here's the thing, it's not about punishment. It's about release. The Ten of Swords doesn't show up to ruin you, it shows up to free you from what's already been bleeding you dry. Think of it like pulling out a splinter that's been festering for years. Painful? Absolutely. Necessary? More than you know. Because what's on the other side of this ending isn't just peace, it's power. I've been reading energy for years, and one thing I know about Aries is this: you don't fear the fire, you are the fire. But even fire needs direction, containment, purpose. Otherwise, it scorches everything in its path, including you. This June, the call isn't just to fight harder, it's to choose wiser. Let go of what's no longer aligned, no matter how familiar. Welcome the endings that clear the way for your evolution. And if it feels like life is shoving you into a corner, trust that it's only to get you to turn and face what you've outgrown. You're not being punished, Aries, you're being initiated. So take a breath, grab your sword, or your matchstick, and let's get to it. Let's get real for a moment, Aries. You're not a one-note warrior. You're not just the bold one, or the impulsive one, or the one who always speaks their mind whether anyone asked or not. You're a full constellation of selves, some loud, some quiet, some ready to take on the world, and some curled up in the corner journaling with a lavender candle. And June 2025? It's inviting, no, daring you to bring all of those selves to the table. Not just the ones that get applause. Not just the ones you've been told are acceptable. All of them. Now, I know what you're thinking, but I don't want to be fake. Trust me, you're not being fake when you shift gears. You're being adaptive. You're being multifaceted. You're not a mask wearer, you're a shapeshifter. And yes, there's a difference. See, in psychological terms, integration means acknowledging every part of yourself, not just the shiny bits. And in the Buddhist tradition, clinging to a fixed identity is like hugging an ice sculpture in the desert. It's gonna melt, and then what? You've been playing small, Aries. Not because you're weak, but because you're clinging to a version of yourself that's familiar even when it's outdated. That's ego resistance, plain and simple. You say you want change, but the second the universe nudges you towards something bigger, your inner control freak pulls the emergency brake. Sound familiar? Here's the cosmic truth bomb: if you want something, it's not a coincidence. It's not random. It's a seed planted by the universe in your spirit, begging to be watered. And spoiler alert, it won't grow if you're still trying to be the version of you that makes everyone else comfortable. Expansion isn't optional anymore. It's spiritual survival. So stop gatekeeping your own greatness. Let yourself evolve. Be messy. Be weird. Be wildly, unapologetically whole. And remember, even a ram has more than one horn. Let's talk about the cosmic paradox of June, Aries. Life is a game, but nobody gave you the rulebook, and you've been switching between Monopoly and Mortal Kombat without knowing which one you're playing. Some of you have been taking serious soul contracts and treating them like casual Friday, shrugging off red flags, ignoring gut punches, and telling yourself, it's probably fine. Spoiler, it's not fine. Meanwhile, you've been approaching the things that truly matter, your growth, your health, your peace of mind, as if they're just optional side quests in someone else's game. But here's the truth from someone who's studied both the stars and the shadows of the psyche for decades: the energy you bring to life is the life you get. And right now, your vibe is a little too Netflix and avoid in situations that require spiritual backbone. You've got a toxic commitment, maybe it's a job, a relationship, a habit, or even just a belief that is actively draining the juice out of your fire. If this were a Facebook status, it would be, it's complicated, and karmically exhausting. And if we were being honest, it's not even a love-hate relationship anymore, it's more like a love-met-trauma loop. Now, when 2 justice cards show up in a reading, yes, 2, you better believe the universe just banged its gavel. Karmic court is in session, and you're not just a witness this time. You're the plaintiff, the defendant, and the judge all rolled into one. The good news? There's serious potential for financial alignment and energetic payoff, but only after you take out the karmic trash. This is not the month to keep energetically subsidizing people or situations that wouldn't even pick up the tab for your coffee, let alone your healing. If someone's been skating on your loyalty or guilt-tripping you into staying in something that makes your soul sigh every morning, it's time to spiritually lawyer up. Boundaries aren't betrayal, they're self-respect with a backbone. As Buddhist wisdom would say, clinging creates suffering. And right now, you're clinging to something that's blocking not just your money flow, but your freedom. So Aries, grab the scissors, cut the dead weight, and trust that what's meant for you won't need to be dragged, bribed, or spiritually babysat. Let's clear something up, Aries, once and for all. Self-sabotage? It's not real. Not in the way we've been taught to think about it. You're not secretly plotting your own downfall in some dramatic, soap opera kind of way. What's really happening is this: there's a part of you that's scared. And instead of showing up to say, hey, I'm terrified, it pulls the emergency brake on your momentum and whispers, maybe we shouldn't send that email, maybe we're not ready, maybe we just wait another week. Sound familiar? That hesitant, avoidant, delay the dream voice isn't your enemy, it's your bodyguard. A misguided one, yes. But still trying to protect a deeper, more tender version of you that got hurt somewhere along the way. Now here's where June gets interesting. This month is your soul's chance to call a truce within. Instead of stuffing one part of you into a mental closet and telling it to shut up, you're being asked to gather all the voices in your head, pull up a metaphorical meditation cushion, and say, all right, let's talk this out. Integration is the name of the game. And spoiler alert, peace doesn't come from silencing parts of yourself, it comes from understanding them. But let's also talk about your spiritual space. Because some of y'all have been living like energetic hoarders. I'm talking expired connections, karmic situations you should have released 5 full moons ago, and emotional baggage so old it probably qualifies as vintage. And yes, that includes people who only show up when they need something or drain you like an emotional Netflix subscription you forgot to cancel. Aries, your spirit is a temple, not a halfway house for toxic patterns. Keep those energies around, and your system starts slowing down like a laptop from 2003. So clean house. Make space. Talk to your inner saboteur. Give your fears a voice, but don't hand them the wheel. You've got too much ahead of you to keep circling the same old block with ghosts in the back seat. Alright Aries, lean in, because this next part is where things get juicy and maybe just a little messy, but in a good way. There's a surprise twist brewing in your energy field, and it has everything to do with love or some kind of creative revelation that could knock your socks off. We're talking butterflies meet destiny kind of moment. And this is a big cosmic but it won't land if you're still emotionally backpacking through life with a suitcase full of unresolved drama. Picture trying to go on a romantic picnic while dragging 3 garbage bags labeled X, unprocessed feelings, and that one time I didn't set a boundary in 2019. Yeah, not the vibe. If you're single, there's someone orbiting your reality who could be the real deal, but don't expect them to stick around if the emotional baggage claim is still spinning. And if you're in a connection already, well, now's the time to check for third-party energy, whether that's another person, an ex still in the picture, or even a toxic job or belief system that's playing the role of the other. If you don't cut that interference, it'll cut into your joy. And let's be honest, Aries doesn't do love halfway. You want the full fire, not a flicker shadowed by unresolved karma. Now, speaking of fire, let's talk balance. Aries, you tend to operate in extremes. You're either the fearless protector or the peacekeeper who forgot how to say no. This month, the universe is challenging you to find the sweet spot between compassion and assertion. If you've been playing it too soft, afraid to rock the boat, it's time to let your inner wolf show its teeth, just, maybe not at the grocery store. On the flip side, if you've been charging at every problem like it insulted your ancestors, maybe it's time to find your inner monk. Yes, even you have one, he's just usually outnumbered. The real lesson here? Strength isn't about how loud you get or how quickly you react. It's about how wisely you respond. It's the quiet confidence of knowing when to speak, when to pause, and when to walk away with your head high and your dignity intact. And that, my dear Aries, is the kind of energy that attracts the love and the life you've been waiting for. Let's not tiptoe around it. Aries, you've got a masked character in your midst. And no, I'm not talking about Halloween leftovers. I'm talking about a hidden energy, someone who smiles with their mouth but not their eyes. Maybe it's a Capricorn with charm slicker than oil, or a Virgo who just wants what's best for you, translation, control disguised as concern. Or maybe, and this one's trickier, it's someone who seems spiritual, grounded, maybe even inspiring. But underneath all that incense and enlightened lingo, they're running a background program on your soul like energetic spyware. They feed off your indecision, your self-doubt, your need to be seen and validated. Aries, it's time to uninstall the app. This isn't about paranoia, it's about discernment. Red flags aren't holiday decor. If something feels off but you can't quite explain why, trust the instinct. You don't need a reason to walk away from something that disrupts your peace. You only need self-respect. And let's be honest, you're no stranger to fire, but even fire can be misused if it's aimed in the wrong direction. Now, let's talk about the crossroads. You're standing at the spiritual fork in the road moment. On one side, we've got the Page of Wands, youthful, creative, rebellious, full of wanderlust and purpose. On the other, the Hierophant, structure, tradition, responsibility, and let's face it, a little spiritual bureaucracy. Both paths have their value, but you can't play for both teams forever. If your soul is craving freedom, but your routines are chaining you to a version of yourself you've outgrown, you already know what needs to happen. Rip the band-aid. Let it hurt. Then let it heal. See, the universe isn't out to get you, it's just ruthlessly committed to your growth. There's a kind of divine precision at play here. You can absolutely have the love, the money, the peace, the fire. But only if you're willing to drop the masks, the toxic ties, the outdated roles you've been squeezing yourself into. June 2025 isn't just another month on the calendar, it's a portal. A clean break. The cosmic equivalent of new phone, who dis? So here's the truth, Aries, you're not here to live a lukewarm life. You're not here to fake smile through energy-sucking conversations or play small to keep others comfortable. You're here to be bold, radiant, expansive and maybe just a little dramatic. Hey, you're ruled by Mars, after all. Take this month as your cue to realign with your truth, even if it means breaking habits, shaking up dynamics, or letting go of what's comfortable. What's waiting on the other side is so much more aligned, so much more freeing, and dare I say it, so much more fun. If this message resonated with you, and I know some of you felt it in your gut, don't forget to like this video, share it with your fellow Aries souls, and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what the stars are serving up next. This is Zodiac Talks Tarot, and remember, this life is yours to live, not survive. So go out there and make it burn brighter than ever.